I want to show you how to cut off the weaving that you've already done while not interfering with the warp that's on your warp beam so that you can continue weaving. This is really thinking about cutting off your sampler and then preparing for weaving project 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of tap my brake. We want a little bit of slack. And ideally you would have woven a couple of inches as like finishing for your tapestry, woven in your tails. You could also have done your hemmed header or a hem stitch, but this is, again, once you've finished your sampler and you're ready to cut off for project 2. So I know this is really scary, but you want to cut on this side of your reed. If you cut here, you're gonna have to reslay your reed. If you cut here, you're gonna have to rethread, which might be something that you wanna do for project 2, but probably not. If you wanna continue with that tabby plain weave foundation that we've been using, you're just gonna cut here. And I would definitely recommend giving yourself like 4 inches after your weaving or your sampler is done. So I'm gonna cut this and I'm gonna kind of just like catch it in my hand. We want to leave a good bit here too, because if someone walks by and just like accidentally bumps your reed, then you're gonna have to redo this part again. So before I cut any more, I'm just gonna go ahead and split this into 2 and just tie a really simple knot. That will just keep that in place so that if an accident happens and you're still on track for project 2. And I'm just gonna be extra careful and do that all the way across my warp. And then this, you wanna unhitch your cloth beam thing so that you can pull this. And then ideally we want this this dowel setting just above your breast beam. And then you can either cut these or untie these. I prefer to cut as close to the knot as possible and then kind of pull them. I'll show you here. And then you can kind of like wiggle them loose. We don't want to leave the knots on there. That's just going to be more work for you later. Okay, and this is now ready for finishing, and then with the warp that's still on your loom, I'm going to press my brake again to give myself some more slack, and then kind of pull this forward. And then we've already done the majority of this work. We just want to do that process of tying onto the cloth beam dowel rod starting in the middle, just like we did for dressing our loom initially. So I'm gonna come in here, find like 1.5 inch section, split that into 2, tie my fancy knot around my beam. So just as a refresher, I'm splitting this into 2, then going underneath the beam, coming up, kind of putting my weight on it a little bit, going through the center and around, and then tying a single knot. And then doing that in this direction, and then coming back to the center, tightening it again, tying your double knot. And then you're ready to weave for project 2.